right through. Halftime in Denver, where the Broncos lead the Baltimore Ravens by a score of 10-6, and defense has been the order of the day. It was a Chester McLaughlin interception that set up the only touchdown of the day. Greasy to Dwayne Carswell. 10-6 Denver. CBS Sports coverage of the National Football League will continue after a word from your local station. Denver, along with Phil Simms, I'm Greg Gumbel. 10-6 Denver in the lead over Baltimore at halftime. And the thing that jumps out at you, I just saw Bob Greasy out in the hallway during the break, Phil, and I said, I'll bet you'd like to think that Denver could have a rushing game today, but it doesn't look like it's going to happen.
Well, I don't think it's going to happen, Greg. In fact, I don't even know if they'll really try. I think coming into the game, Mike Shannon, we've seen what they've done so far. 5 wide receivers, a lot of deception. They just cannot line up physically and beat.
Take a look at the numbers and you see what we're talking about. The Denver Broncos with just 13 yards rushing in the first half, and Baltimore not much better at 39, but 167 total yards for the Ravens, 137. The big glaring number there for the Ravens. They are 0 for 7 on third down, and they're going to have to start converting some of those if they are going to get back to into the lead in this football game. Baltimore kicks it away, and this is Casper 2 yards deep in the end zone. To the 20, breaks outside, reverses field, out over the 30 to about the 33-yard line. More good field position for the Broncos, and we check in with Armin Katayan.
Greg, in talking to Brian Balik, he's very pleased. He said, hey, we weathered the storm. We spotted him 7 points, and we fought through it. He said, I told the team at halftime, the most important thing is to not give up a turnover, take control in the second half. But one thing he told him just out of the huddle, or coming out of the locker room, was he didn't want to go past the 25, and Casper gave him, what, 33. Back to you.
Special teams have performed very well so far today in the person of Kevin Casper. First down from the 33-yard line. This is Mike Anderson, left side. Touches it back, slipped and fell across the 35 to about the 37-yard line. Siragusa and Jamie Sharper with the stop after a 3-yard pickup.
Well, I think, Greg, you saw Denver might try to get back to a more conventional offense for a couple of reasons, just to slow the Baltimore defense down, but maybe look for some play-action passes to give them a chance to look for a big play down the field, because the hardest thing to do against this Ravens defense is to get a big play, and scoring in the National Football League is about making big plays.
Anderson snaking his way through and out to the 45 for a first down. You and I were talking prior to the game. That is a huge Baltimore front four, and not a very big, by NFL standards, offensive line for the Denver Broncos.
No, I talked about it early or somewhere in the first half. The Broncos offense, they like to cut you down and tell the runners to run through those arm tackles when the defender is reaching up. It's hard to get Baltimore's defensive linemen on the ground. That's why they're hard to run against.
That 8-yard run, the longest for the Broncos today. First down at the 45. Greasy pulls it down and takes off across midfield and sliding down close to a first down, and we have a marker down. And it's going to be a hold on the Broncos. Sam Adams, wouldn't be surprised if he's the guy who's held, because he's the only Raven standing back near the original line of scrimmage.
Yeah, he knew it. I heard him even yell out. They
there
got
were fouls
it.
against both teams on the play. Holding, number 66 offense, hands to the face, number 21 defense. The penalties offset. Replay first down.
Well, the Baltimore penalty is on Chris McAllister. The Denver penalty is on Tom Nalen.
You talk about quarterbacks in this league now, and they talk about all the guys that are able to run, and I'm really a firm believer, even more so as I watch games in this league now. It's hard to be a running quarterback and have success by running down the field. It has to be opportune times, like we just saw with Brian Greasy.
Landis Gary as penalty markers fly, and it appears that Greasy may have drawn some Baltimore defenders off with one of the quarterback's favorite weapons, the snap count.
And who was the best ever at doing that, Greg?
You?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, then I'm out of guesses.
Number 91, defense, 5-yard penalty. Repeat first down.
It's like the trivia questions you see in all football telecasts. Usually it has something to do with one of the teams that you're at, right? So let me ask you again. Who's the best at drawing a defense off sides? you've ever seen as a quarterback.
Well, would John Elway be right up there among them?
You catch on quick. No, but that would be it. John Elway was terrific with the hard count and really kept the defense on edge.
On 1st and 5, Gary, maybe a yard. So it'll be 2nd and 4.
You know, we had a chance to talk to Olandis Gary a couple days ago, and a couple things struck me. You know, he's had so much success 2 years ago, then he got hurt, but he's not a big guy to be a powerful runner like he is. And Mike Shanahan said he had a terrific training camp and looks like he's almost back in the form that he was 2 years ago.
Says his knee still isn't 100%.
Yeah, he goes, I just don't like the way it feels.
Greasy with time, now coming to the near side and dives forward rather than throwing it away. McCrary with the pressure on.
Well, Brian Greasy really playing it safe, but a couple times when he looked down the field, Kevin Casper had broken away and was open, and he's going to throw it, and he decides, nope, don't throw. You hear it all the time, don't throw across the field, and he did not do it. Went ahead and just took the sack or the modest gain.
That'll go down as the 2nd Ravens sack of the day. He needs to get just across the 45-yard line of the Ravens for a first down. Quick pass, far side, Rod Smith, first down and more inside the 40.
Well, Rod Smith, the one thing he can do, we've seen in the first half, he can catch when people are around him, but he is terrific after the catch. Anthony Mitchell misses the tackle, and Rod Smith picks up some extra tough yards. The Ravens blitz. Corey Harris came off the corner. Brian Greasy saw it. Rod Smith changed his route, and they pick up a big first down.
Another first down reception for Rod Smith. 4 of them today, every one of them for a first down. Mike Anderson to the 35. And whether it's going to work for them or not, Mike Shanahan looks like he's a little bit more committed to the ground game here as the second half begins.
Well, you know what? What I saw in that first half, too, Greg, is that the 5 wide receivers, every play you were like, what's going to happen? The quarterback's going to get sacked, fumble it. Brian Greasy threw the football into some really tight places, and when you keep throwing the football at that pace, sooner or later you're going to make a big mistake.
Greasy, and that's Hape out of the backfield, and Hape is knocked down at about the 31 or 32-yard line by Dwayne Starks. And as we see the ground game perhaps get more into gear, we go back to what Mike Shanahan was talking about as far as his wide receivers go. If you're going to play wide receiver for the Denver Broncos, you have to be committed to blocking downfield.
Got to block down the field, and vice versa. You get to be a corner for the Baltimore Ravens, you better be a good tackler, and we saw that with Dwayne Starks.
And that's what they will miss a great deal with Ed McCaffrey out for the season with the broken leg. 3rd and 3. Quick drop, quick pass, incomplete and almost intercepted. Rod Woodson was right there on Desmond Clark.
You know what makes it easy for the Baltimore Ravens to play some of these 5 wide receiver sets? Football got away from Brian Greasy that time a little. Guys like Rod Woodson. You know, most teams, the safety comes up to cover. You go, oh, that's not a good match for us. But Rod Woodson was one of the best cover corners in the National Football League for years. Corey Harris was a corner at first, too. So when they come up to cover receivers, it's not that tough of a job for them.
This is going to be a 49-yard attempt by Jason Elam. Out of the hole by Ruin. It is good. Jason Elam with another field goal. And the Broncos up their lead to 13-6. Back in Denver, 9 plays, 35 yards, resulting in the Jason Elam 49-yard field goal. And Elam kicks it away. Jermaine Lewis, 3 yards deep in the end zone. Stumbles a little bit and is tripped up at the 15, falls forward to the 18-yard line, special team specialist. Ian Gold with the stop after a 20-yard return.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Snickers Cruncher. Hungry? Crunch this. IBM, taking e-business and your business to the next level. And by Hertz, the world's #1 in car rental.
Elvis Gerback brings the Ravens to the line as they begin from their own 17-yard line, and their starting position, as you can see, has not been terrific here today. Movement before the snap. A lot of flags.
Sammy Williams moved.
Prior to the snap, false start, number 78 offense, 5-yard penalty, first down.
That might be one of those times, and what did Elvis Gerback tell us? The crowd was loud, and he says when it gets real loud, he goes, I actually go to what is we call a quiet count. In other words, he doesn't try to scream. It's just him in the center, and everybody else has to turn their heads, look at the center, and know when the ball is snapped.
1st and 15. That's complete to Shannon Sharp, and Sharp out across the 20, almost to the 25-yard line. Eric Brown dragged him down.
Shannon Sharp, he has made his living or his career in the National Football League going across the formation. Just has a wonderful feel how to fight his way through traffic, go from his right side all the way across the field, and Elvis Gerback finds him wide open.
We talked about him with Bill Romanowski. He said he no longer has that ability to outrun people, but he does know how to get open. 2nd and 2 down the seam, and that's complete. Out across the 45-yard line, Qadri Ismail.
You know what? We talked about this. I was just saying this earlier. I can't wait to see if this receiving core for the Ravens, can it turn out to be real? Can it be a factor in football games? And there is no doubt this year, 2.5 games, they look better to me than they did all of last year because they're seeing more passes in practice, and they're absolutely seeing more balls thrown their way in a game. And Ismail is the perfect example for that.
His first catch of the day. On 1st down, Gerback down the sideline. It is incomplete, and that's intended for Travis Taylor. O'Neal was with him step for step.
And what were we talking about during halftime? You and I were talking about, I didn't know if Denver could run the football anymore, but I also said to you was what?
The capacity for the big play is there.
Is absolutely on Baltimore's side offense more than Denver's, because Denver is just not as good as Baltimore's defense is athletically. Baltimore had a few chances in the first half. They did make one big one that led to one of the field goals, but they have a chance to get open down the field for a big scoring play.
2nd and 10. Ian Badejo pulls his way across midfield. Kenoy Kennedy coming up from his safety position for the stop after a gain of 2, and it'll be 3rd and 8. Both Brian Billick and Mike Shanahan looking through the charts. So what do we do now?
I tell you, if you ever looked at one of those charts, I took Gary Kubiak's. I saw him Saturday morning. So let me look at your chart. There were 9, really no exaggeration, 500 plays on it. I said, I can't even see how you can even read it.
Baltimore yet to complete a 1st down today. On 3rd down, the pass to Sharp, and that will not do it either.
Somewhat a decision to be made here. I think he'll punt, play field position.
Kyle Richardson comes on. So the Ravens are 0 for 8 on 3rd downs today. Richardson to kick. O'Neal is deep. Richardson, the NFL leader the last 2 years, putting punts down inside the 20-yard line, and O'Neal fair catches this one at the 15-yard line. 29-yard punt and no return, and we'll be back after this. Here's our NFL.com interactive poll for today of the NFL team starting 0-2, which has the best shot at making the playoffs. Cast your vote at NFL.com. On 1st down, Greasy with time. Coming this way, throws over the middle, tip, intercepted. Starks has the football, and the Ravens are in prime position inside the Denver 25-yard line.
Boy, Greg, you said the last drive, nice decision by Brian Griese, very smart, but this time he goes down the field. The receivers are just jammed, nobody open, and as he goes out, throws across, oh, just such a dangerous pass. Patrick Hape knocks it up in the air, and the Baltimore defense has stopped so many drives. Tip pass, sacking the quarterback, turnover.
And now on first down, Gerback throws the quick pass over the middle inside the 20, and it is incomplete. John Jones, the tight end. That's a young man that we can go all the way back to the preseason, and Brian Billick was telling us he liked the looks of this man.
Well, I can see why. He's tall, he runs very well down the field, and like a lot of young players, he just needs to get in the football game, get some repetitions, and getting used to getting yelled at by your coach when you drop a pass, because Brian Billick gave him an earful.
First time today the Ravens begin in Denver territory. This is 2nd and 10. Terry Allen straight ahead to the 20. He picked up 4. It'll be 3rd and 6, and Brian Griese doesn't throw many picks, does he?
No, he really is. I looked at the first 2 games, and even this, he doesn't even give the defense a chance most of the time. He's thrown a few today in some tight coverages, but smart decision maker, and that's why he's one of the best quarterbacks in the National Football League.
Here again, a 3rd down opportunity for the Ravens, and they have failed to convert one of these today. Gerback to the near side, toward the end zone. Ismail, touchdown! Touchdown pass to Qadry Ismail, his first touchdown reception of the year.
All I can say, I'll just say it one more time, Greg. Doesn't look like the same receiver we saw last year. That time, watch what he does as he goes down the field. He waits to the last second to look up and put his arms up, because the defender, if you put your arms up too quick, will put his hand in between him and knock the pass away.
Ismail, his 12th touchdown in 2+ seasons with the Ravens. He had only 12 in his previous 6 NFL seasons. Stover's kick is good. Elvis Gerback bringing his team back into a 13-13 tie in Denver. Back to make part of the play.
Oh, full speed, once a hit, and
Griese escaped getting caught in that vice. It was really Siragusa and Boulware butting heads.
Well, when I was talking to Brian Griese on Friday, I said, boy, that's the one thing, Brian, right? When you run now, you just can't find the ground fast enough as a quarterback in this league. And even Mike Shanahan says, yeah, I think he's learned, like most quarterbacks, he's learned his lesson the hard way, going down the field, taking big hits, and he got hurt last year from a couple of those big hits.
So Siragusa walks off to the sideline. Boulware is already over there. Larry Webster, number 79, in a defensive tackle. Extra defensive back in, only 2 linebackers for the Ravens. And the give is to Anderson. Anderson to the 40. To about the 41-yard line. Woodson and Harris with the tackle, and we go to Jim Nance in New York. Jim.
All right, Greg and Phil, it is hapless for Seattle. Rich Gannon, 2 touchdown passes to Jerry Rice, and this time he runs it in. Seattle has 110 yards offense. Hasselbeck sacked 6 times. Oakland annihilating them. Let's go back out to Denver.
All right, Jim. And Phil, you and I talked about what a long trip back to Oakland that must have been for the Raiders after that tough loss at Miami last Sunday. 3rd and 4. Griese pulls it down, and he's going to run, and he's pulled down from behind by Boulware.
Boy,
Boulware with 2.5 sacks on the day. Excuse me, Phil.
No, I'm sorry, Greg. Peter Boulware, though, this is a little new for the Ravens defense. You see him more and more rushing the passer as the 4th down lineman, and look, that is just nothing but speed that allows him to stop Brian Griese from getting the first down.
Not 2.5 sacks, because Griese did make it back to the line of scrimmage, so that was a rushing attempt. bounce at the goal line and into the end zone. 58-yard punt by Ruin. When we come back, it'll be Baltimore from its own 20-yard line. Back at Invesco Field at Mile High, the Denver Broncos, the Baltimore Ravens tied at 13. First down, Baltimore, their own 20-yard line. Terry Allen breaking tackle across the 30. That'll be enough for a first down. 12-yard pickup to the 32-yard line.
You know, Terry Allen runs with a little attitude, too. You can see when he takes it up inside, he is full go, running hard, and still, after all the hard hits he has taken and everything, still has terrific feet that allows him to get those extra yards.
Terry Allen has had 2 torn ACLs in his career, 4 1,000-yard seasons. And there's a hit at the line of scrimmage on Allen by John Mobley, and he's forward just over the 35-yard line for a 3-yard gain. And we check in with Armin.
Thanks, Greg. You know, Brian Billick, when he was trying to figure out how he was going to handle this whole repeat thing with the Super Bowl, talked to a couple of guys who know something about it. Both Joe Torre of the Yankees and Phil Jackson of both the Bulls and the Lakers. Both told him, don't try to figure out what this year will be about, whether you're going to repeat or be the best defense ever. Just go out and play every single game on its own merits and figure it's a dogfight and it's going to work out. Greg?
Thanks, Armin. Gerback pass as he goes down. It's incomplete. Bill Romanowski coming in from the far side.
Yeah, Denver is getting a little aggressive on defense, and Romanowski on the blitz. Here he comes around the outside. Nobody there to pick him up. And, you know, that's the one thing I've noticed when you study, there's Ray Rhodes, the defensive coordinator. When you study Elvis Gerback, he's hard to sack because he's 6'6", but he actually plays taller. He stands tall when he throws the football. He throws an overhand motion. So when guys are right on him, he's still able to stand up and just throw right over the top like he did that time.
3rd and 7. Gerback lost the handle, picks it up, slides down at the 35-yard line.
Yeah, that's something the coach has the right to be upset. Let's see. The snap looks like it goes to the right just a little. That makes sense because Flynn, the center, is trying to run to his right to make a block, and the football went with him. See, I blame that on the center, not the quarterback.
Still have a little bit more than a quarter chance to find Richardson. High, booming kick, and the fair catch is called, and he gets hit at about the 21-yard line. Or maybe he didn't call for the fair catch. There is no flag. O'Neal backed into by his own blocker. So the line of scrimmage will be the 21-yard line. We invite you to follow all the games on NFL.com, and after the games, in-depth analysis and recaps from the experts. Only at NFL.com. Your AOL keyword is NFL.com. Olandis Gary dipped to the outside. Doesn't quite make it to the 25-yard line. It'll be a 4-yard gain, 2nd and 6. Running back situation has been very interesting here in Denver the last couple of years. Of course, Terrell Davis, the great running back who has been set upon by knee problems and foot problems and sidelined for the time being. Along came Olandis Gary. There's Terrell on the sideline. Along came Olandis Gary, and he had an injury last year, and along came Mike Anderson. And Greasy over the middle. To Gary, and Gary is hit at about the 28-yard line, and once again back to New York in Jim Nance.
Well, you guys are all aware of this buzz about LaDainian Tomlinson, the rookie running back for San Diego. He has scored now 2 touchdowns in the 3rd quarter to break a 7-7 tie to 21-7 Chargers. Let's go back to Greg and Phil.
You know, those Chargers are the talk of this Denver Broncos camp, too, because we heard it more than once that by the time Denver gets out there to San Diego in a couple of weeks, those Chargers can easily be undefeated. 3rd and 1. Greasy trying to back out of trouble. Comes this way, looking downfield, cuts back, and is down at about the 26-yard line. Ray Lewis closed in on him. That will go down as the 4th sack of the day by the Baltimore Ravens. Pretty good defense up front and downfield.
Greg, you're right. The pressure on the quarterback, the ability of Rod Woodson is running down the field with Rod Smith, and Rod Smith must have changed directions 4 or 5 different times, and Woodson stayed with him the whole way.
Bruins kick, not his best of the day by far. Bounces and gets a roll and bounces out of bounds at about the 30-yard line. Let's go back to that play.
Well, let's look. One of the best wide receivers in the National Football League. Oh, gets away from the jam. Dwayne Starks goes to the ground, but watch Rod Woodson run with him down the field. Uh-oh. Quarterback scrambling. Got him. He's going to stop, go back. He waits on him. You know, that really is a good job by a safety. And really, that, again, that's what separates and really helps this Baltimore defense go over the top. They have a safety like him and Corey Harris that are able to cover wide receivers down the field.
Rod Woodson, 9 interception returns for a touchdown in his great career. Jason Brookins on the field, gets the handoff and just nudges it over the 30-yard line as time runs down on us here in the 3rd quarter. That is the end of the 3rd quarter with a score: Baltimore 13, Denver 13. We'll come back after this message and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on CBS. It's here in Denver. The 1-1 Ravens, the 2-0 Broncos. Gerback with time, throws near side, has his man Shannon Sharp, and that's out of bounds, close to midfield for a first down.
You know, one thing, you said it earlier, Bill Romanowski said, well, Shannon Sharp might not be able to outrun you anymore, but nice fake inside. Nobody outside to help, and really not a good technique by Kanoy Kennedy. When you got a receiver like Shannon Sharp one-on-one, there's a safety in the middle. Don't let him fake you and go outside where there's nobody there to help you.
Shannon Sharp has now moved ahead of Jackie Smith for the 2nd most receiving yards ever by a tight end. He trails only Ozzie Newsome. Gerback on the move. Cuts inside of a potential tackler across midfield.
You know, and Greg, the last play, the throw to Shannon Sharp, we didn't even get into it. Elvis Gerback under pressure, but he stands so tall to throw the football, just makes it look easy, throws it with the perfect touch to the receivers, and all the Baltimore receivers have said the same thing. It's so easy to catch the football when he throws it. It's on target, and it's the perfect pace.
The word from the Baltimore sideline, Tony Siragusa, a mild concussion. His return is questionable. Terry Allen. Trevor Price, the first one to get his hands on it. No gain. It'll be 3rd and 6. Trevor Price came off of his 2nd Pro Bowl last year.
Yeah, Trevor Price inside. One of the best pass rushers in the National Football League from the inside position. You take him and now you put Chester McLaughlin next to him. That is like the perfect combination to have on the inside of your defense.
3rd and 6. Quarterback throws this side. Shannon Sharp wide open. First down inside the 40 to about the 37-yard line. Only the 2nd 3rd down that the Ravens have converted today. The other was the touchdown.
Boy, just another nice throw. Nice job by Shannon Sharp knowing where to go. And I guess when I saw that the Ravens got beat by the Bengals, they threw 63 times. I go, man, they lost the formula that was so good for them. But then as I've watched the game and we watched the films and we start looking at it, you can see that they were really close to getting their offense together, and it might take a couple more weeks, but it's getting better by the time.
The pass to the far side to John Jones, and Jones down at about the line of scrimmage. There will be no gain on the play. It'll be 2nd and 10. Clock continues to move as we come up on 12 and a half to play here in the 4th quarter of what has been a terrific game right from the start. Number 76, Eric Williams, is in there now at right tackle. Yards for the Baltimore offense. And here is Brookins breaking free. 25, 20, tripped up inside the 20-yard line by Eric Brown.
The Denver Broncos, 2nd and 10, are expecting pass, so they come after the quarterback. There's a blitz. Look at the linebackers. Nobody is really looking for the run. Jason Brookins up inside. And, oh, what a terrific tackle by Eric Brown.
Brown saved the touchdown. First down, Baltimore at the Denver 17.
Brookins is fresh. Been sitting on the sideline most of the day.
He gets the call. Off left guard, down to the 10-yard line.
As Brian Billick said to us, he goes, hey, Jason Brookins, you can see just on the TV screen, he looks like Jamal Lewis in body type. And what I mean by that, he's fairly tall for a running back in this league. Thick, big, and has pretty good feet. A rookie in there. Really doing a terrific job for a rookie on a Super Bowl defending team.
His last 2 carries, he's gotten 27 yards on the ground. He's on the sideline now, and Terry Allen is back into the backfield. Allen, right side to the 5, and has a first down. It'll be 1st and goal for the Ravens.
There's Ray Rhodes, defensive coordinator, now trying to figure out what to do. Then just do whatever you got to do to keep them from scoring a touchdown. But see, they get inside the 20, Greg. I just thought it was interesting. Yes, Brookins had a couple carries. Well, they're bringing him back in again. So they're going to keep their running backs fresh, rotate them as much as they can.
Brookins, with blocker extraordinaire Sam Gash, lines up in the backfield. Brookins cuts back inside the 5 to about the 3. Romanowski and Kenoy Kennedy converge there.
You know, Brian Billick told us Benny Anderson starting at right guard, Sammy Williams the right tackle, along with Eric Williams, are both kind of rotating. But Edwin Mulatalo, you know, this line, it's going to take a couple weeks, but it's got the look, the athletic ability. They can be powerful, and they can get this running game going as time goes on.
Ishmael and Taylor flank to the top of your screen. The give is to Allen, and Allen stopped at about the line of scrimmage.
Just too many defenders for the Ravens to block. That's when you got to say, as an offensive coach, they outguessed me.
He lost a yard on the play, and it'll be 3rd and goal from the 3.5-yard line. Now make it the 3. Now the Denver crowd comes alive. 9 minutes to play here in the 4th quarter. Allen and Gash are behind Gerbach in the backfield. Gerbach, quick pass, touchdown! Travis Taylor pulled it in at the goal line, and the Ravens are in the lead.
I was wondering why did the Ravens bring in Sam Gash in an obvious passing situation down the goal line? Watch the fullback. Boom, goes down low, lets Elvis Gerbach get a lane to throw the football to Travis Taylor.
Taylor almost losing control, but established it there with 2 feet on the ground.
Inside receiver, and again, when you're playing Brian Billick or people of the so-called West Coast offense, the inside receiver, they love to break him out in those short routes in those situations.
Stover's extra point is good, and on the sideline, Elvis Gerbach congratulated by teammates and by his head coach. It's the Ravens by a touchdown. Tonight on 60 Minutes, how prepared are we for a biological or chemical attack? Let the man who briefs the president brief you tonight on 60 Minutes. Stover kicks it away. Casper, terrific on returns so far today. 20, and out of bounds this time, just short of the 25-yard line, run out by Alvin Porter. Travis Taylor, 10 yards shy of a 100-yard day.
NFL on CBS is sponsored by DirecTV. the #1 digital satellite entertainment provider. Smirnoff Ice, intelligent nightlife. And by Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
I look at some of the Colorado scenery, and I look at what the Broncos have done the last 3 times they've had the football. They start now from their own 24-yard line, trailing 20-13. Greasy, deep drop, throws, incomplete, and almost intercepted by Rod Woodson.
Rod Woodson was covering the tight end on the inside, Desmond Clark, reads the quarterback, comes off, and almost gets the interception. And you saw the disgust in Mike Shanahan's face. If Greasy just throws it higher and softer, it's an easy completion. But what a reaction by Rod Woodson.
Rod Woodson, 58 career interceptions to his credit. 2nd and 10. Greasy the other way, and that was complete to Carswell, and Carswell, pickup of about 2 or 3 on the play. Corey Harris with the tackle. We'll call it a 3-yard gain. It's a 2-yard gain, make it 3rd and 8.
You look at Rod Woodson there, Greg, and I'll never forget talking to him last year. And he says, you know, he went from a corner with the Pittsburgh Steelers. He comes to Baltimore. They turn him into a safety, and he just couldn't get over how hard it was to play safety because he'd never seen a game facing the offense like that. He usually had the sideline to help, and it took a long time for the transition to happen. But once it clicked in, Marvin Lewis said his defense just changed completely.
On 3rd and 8, the pass to Smith is complete. Across midfield, inside the 45-yard line, and a 1st down.
When you need a big play, and if you're the Denver Broncos, you can almost bet it's going to go to Rod Smith, and that time he's matched up with Carnell Lake. And you know, this is tough for Carnell Lake. Usually the Broncos receivers are going across the field, they're breaking out, and when they go vertical straight up the field, very tough to cover.
5 receptions, 5 first downs for Rod Smith, who came in the leader in that category to begin with today. Greasy on the move. 40, 35, gets a 1st down and out of bounds inside the Baltimore 30-yard line.
And guess who missed the tackle that time on Brian Greasy? Ray Lewis, number 52, comes out of coverage. Another good job by Greasy in his footwork. But look at Ray Lewis. He must have been running at Brian Greasy going, oh, I can't wait to get there. But you know, Brian Greasy just has that knack. He moves at the right time, stepped up in the pocket, and made a good decision to go forward.
Play clock is down to 5, 4, 3, 2, and they call timeout. Rather than get hit with the delay of game penalty, Denver burns its 1st timeout here in the 2nd half. Tony Siragusa, number 98, back on the field despite the mild concussion suffered earlier. At this mile-high altitude, you expect a couple of the guys to be sucking wind right about now. Give is to no one. Greasy still has the football. Rolls, throws for the end zone. It is incomplete. Rod Smith is intended receiver.
Greg, you talked about some players being tired, but the thing about that is that we were talking about during the commercial. The Ravens play so many guys on defense, you get tired, you go out. And that time, Siragusa wasn't fooled by the play-action fake. He looked pretty quick chasing Brian Greasy that time.
You know, he's going to love it when you hear that you said that he looked pretty quick.
Well, you know, listen, don't let that body fool you. He is a very good athlete and moves around extremely well.
2nd and 10. That's Siragusa jumping.
And you hear that all the time. Boy, he's got a little attitude right now. But you get that weight leaning forward, hard to stop.
Encroachment, number 98, defense, 5-yard penalty.
You know, Tony, he's doing a little talking down there. He's famous for his talking down on the field.
Because, you know, I think, too, a guy like I say, he's got a little attitude. But, you know, this Baltimore Raven defense, they're like offended if you move the football on them. So they all get, you know, get upset, and
they take it personal.
They really do.
Olandis Gary in the backfield. 2nd and 5. The give is to Gary. Right side to the 20. He'll be a couple of yards short of a first down.
That really changes the way that offsides. That's a big play, because instead of 2nd and 10, 2nd and 5, now the Broncos can say, okay, we can run it up in there maybe once, twice, and if it's really close, you can do it on 4th down too.
Coming up on 6 minutes to play in the 4th quarter, and we have on the ground number 90, Rob Burnett, the 12th-year defensive end from Syracuse. And he looks like he's in pain.
Yeah, it looks like he got some cramps the way he just went down real quick.
There's Siragusa. We were talking about how he talks a little bit on the field. Give a listen.
Get out, man. Where you going, man? Oh, man. What do you mean? By you? He was 5 yards in the backfield. I will. And I'll give you my address so you can write me an apology. You guys on the Atkins diet. I've been on that Atkins diet, man. How do I look? Pretty good, don't I? Be honest. Look, when I walk away, check my ass out. Look, look, look.
That is so bad. Oh, gosh. You know, he is quite a character, talks a lot of funny sound bites, but don't ever think for a second that he is not one really good football player. And, you know, we talked to him last year about it, as you see Rob Burnett still on the field. But Tony Siragusa, he says, you know, I got in this league, I saw how it was played. I said, hey, I got no chance of making it as a pass rusher. Put some weight on, really learn the techniques on how to stop running plays, and he has made a career on occupying blockers, so middle linebackers like Ray Lewis can run around and make tackles.
The good news, Rob, Burnett up and walking off the field, and yeah, he takes great pride in the fact that you're not going to get past him to block the linebackers behind him.
And I think, and Jimmy Johnson, I'll never forget this, told me this years ago, 2 of the hardest positions to come in the NFL and play, quarterback and interior defensive lineman, because it's so complicated, so many blocks, getting double teamed, learning what to do. It takes experience and talent to do it.
Here is a huge 3rd and 2. The give is to Gary. Gary right side going for the first down, and he is right at the marker.
What do you do if you're Mike Shanahan? I think it's going to be about 6 inches short. I think you got to go for it. This is your chance to score a touchdown.
It is 4th and 1.
I think I just read his lips. I think they're going to call a timeout, the Denver Broncos. Nope.
Meanwhile, substitutions being made on the defensive side of the ball. And now we're going to get a whistle. And a timeout is called by the Denver Broncos. 5:10 to play.
CBS is sponsored by the HP PhotoSmart digital camera. How will you use it? And by Gatorade Thirst Quencher. Gatorade, is it in you?
A critical 4th and 1 for the Denver Broncos on offense, and it looks like they're going to spread the field with 5 wide receivers.
Now Baltimore's got to be alert for the quarterback sneak.
Greasy, quick pass, bounced off the receiver, incomplete. Desmond Clark hit him right in the hands.
He just was not ready for the football that quick. Let's take a look and see if we... Greasy, 1-2, just gets rid of it right away. There's Gary Kubiak, the offensive coordinator, and he knows it was there, but the details... Elvis Gerback told us about the little details, and a little detail was missing there. Either Greasy was expecting to look quicker, or Clark was just going to go farther over the middle.
5:07 to play here in the 4th quarter. Terry Allen, left side, running room, 25, and out of bounds, close to a first down.
Now the Broncos, you go for it on 4th down because it's hard to score against this Ravens defense. And if you don't make it, you go, well, we got them backed up. We got to stop them. We'll get fairly good field position, and we'll have a pretty good chance with our last drive. But right away, you let Baltimore come right out, Terry Allen get a first down running.
As you look at Brian Greasy, you mentioned this during the last break, Phil. Elvis Gerbach, quite a comeback after the first pass he threw right at the very start of the game was intercepted.
Got to be strong and mentally to overcome that start.
To the 30-yard line is Ian Badejo. Clock moving, coming up on 4:50 to play. Timeout on the field. It is charged to Denver, and the Broncos are now out of timeouts. While we have a moment, let's talk about what's coming up tonight here on CBS. How prepared are we for a biological or chemical attack? Find out on 60 Minutes. Followed by Academy Award winner Richard Dreyfuss in the education of Max Bickford. And then Brian Dennehy and Mary Stuart Masterson star in the world premiere mystery Ed McBain's Three Blind Mice. It's all here tonight on CBS.
What did we talk about in the first half? Talked about timeouts. Use them in the first half whenever you need them. Take them. Second half, you guard those things. They are so important because they determine winning and losing so much in the National Football League. And now Denver, here we are when they need them. None left.
Second and 9. Gerbach going to throw and throws it away. The penalty marker is down. Delta O'Neal protesting the call as he covered Travis Taylor.
Yeah, Delta O'Neal, I didn't see the contact. Maybe it was a double move by Travis Taylor.
Pass interference. Number 24 defense. Automatic first down, spot of the foul.
Let's take a look and see if the Ravens were going for the big play. Tight coverage. Oh, it was a big play, and he reached up to grab him because Delta O'Neal slipped as Travis Taylor made his he made his original move.
That's the second call against O'Neal today.
And that's an automatic call. Look, when you stick your arms out in front of a receiver, the arm bar, as they call it, that is a penalty.
Allen back to the line of scrimmage and no more. Kavika Pittman the first to hit him there. Clock continues to move, coming up on 4.5 to play.
Now, you see, there's still time, 4 minutes and 30 seconds, but the problem now is field position. Even if you stop them, you're most likely going to have to go at least 80 yards for a tie-in touchdown against the best defense in the National Football League.
And it bears repeating here, if the Ravens do have to kick it, Kyle Richardson, the best in the league, putting it inside the 20-yard line the last 2 years. Allen and Gash in the backfield. Gerbach trips. The give is to Allen, and they were lucky to get that play off cleanly.
Lucky is Greg. Now, as I saw him fall, I'm going, oh, I hope you're not going to try to hand it off. In this situation, that could have been a disaster.
Did you see the look on Elvis's face as he got off the turf?
Oh, the center, yeah, he knew what he did. The center, Flynn, his left foot, stepped on Elvis's left foot. It's amazing.
2-yard gain, 3rd and 8, 3.5 to play. They're going to keep it on the ground. Allen, and Allen is wrapped up by Al Wilson. For a moment, that looked like a big gainer up the middle, but Wilson plugged the hole.
It's amazing how fast it closed, wasn't it? When he handed off, I said, oh, that could be a first down. He fought to get back to the line of scrimmage.
O'Neal back at his 10. I'm sorry, Phil.
No, a successful drive by the Ravens, though. Change in field position.
Richardson sails this one too far. Into the end zone and through. For those of you expecting to see 60 Minutes, you're watching the NFL on CBS, and the game between the Baltimore Ravens and Denver Broncos. Greg Gumbel with Phil Simms and Armin Katayan. Our score, Baltimore 20, Denver 13. 60 Minutes will be seen in its entirety immediately following this game, except on the West Coast.
Kyle Richardson, he forgot to factor in the elevation. So you got to be a mathematician when you play here too.
Brian Griese has 80 yards in front of him, 2:36 to play, no timeouts.
This is what everybody wanted to see. Denver's offense against Baltimore's defense, and the game is on the line.
Griese throws, incomplete, just behind Eddie Kennison. It'll be 2nd and 10. Let's flash back to a week ago. Jay Fiedler took the Miami Dolphins 80 yards with no timeouts in the final moments of the game for a victory.
Yeah, you're right. Similar situation, except Oakland's defense is pretty good. This one's real good.
Brian Griese has offered 3 fourth-quarter comebacks.
And if I was Brian Griese, I would really zero on Rod Smith. He was open again the last play.
Chased out of the pocket, throws on the run, incomplete. Eddie Kennison had it bounce off his fingertips, and it'll be 3rd and 10.
Pressure on the quarterback. This is almost a perfect throw by Brian Griese. Kennison actually, whoa, that's close. Got both hands up on the football.
Kennison is on, replacing Ed McCaffrey, who is out for the rest of this year with a broken leg. A reliable receiver that is no longer a part of the arsenal. Play clock is down to 5, 4, 3, and here's Griese. Under the pressure, throws over the middle, that's complete. It'll be short of a 1st down.
Boy, Baltimore coming up with a different look. Gets to the quarterback, and there's no doubt. If I was, yep, that's it. Brian Griese's going to let it go to the 2-minute warning. Let the coaches think about what they're going to run and get your best play out there.
When we come back, Mike Shanahan and the Broncos looking at 4th and 5.
Search for a missing Marine.
Earlier in the game, Mike Shanahan faced a 4th and 1, and a quick pass was incomplete. Now looking at 4th and 5 to keep the drive alive. Denver cannot stop the clock. They're out of timeouts. Whistle blows. And it's going to make it 4th and 10.
Oh, that's huge.
Prior to the snap, false start. Number 88 offense. 5-yard penalty. Remains 4th down.
That's tight end Desmond Clark. We remind you, 60 Minutes is coming up next, except on the West Coast here on CBS.
Did it.
I was going 4th and 5, Greg. It would have been a good time. Everybody get up there and sit in their stance and try to hard count them offside. Instead, they made the mistake.
Griese escapes the rush. Looking downfield, has a man open. It is incomplete, and there's the flag. The flag is on Rod Woodson. Eddie Kennison was the intended receiver, and Kennison at one point had a good 5 or 7 yards on Woodson.
Well, the key, once again,
Pass interference. Number 26, defense. Automatic 1st down, spot of the foul.
the late shift by the Baltimore defense. Peter Boulware, unblocked. Unblocked. Lets Brian Griese get outside the pocket. Good job by Rod Woodson seeing the trouble down the field. But again, stuck that arm in front of the receiver. Good call by the officials.
Gary Kubiak upstairs. Griese on 1st down, goes down. Back to the 47-yard line. That's Michael McCrary.
Still plenty of time. A minute 48. Don't rush it if you're the Broncos. Take your time.
Griese, quick pass, and that one is tipped at the line of scrimmage. Rob Burnett got his hand on it.
Boy, it's so appropriate. Michael McCrary, how about we were sitting in the office talking to Mike Shanahan. He goes, I've never seen a guy play so hard all the time or harder than Michael McCrary. And that last sack, he just outworked the Denver offensive line to get there.
Now, essentially, Brian Griese, as you look at McCrary on the sideline, has 2 downs to get 21 yards.
And if I was the Ravens, don't rush him too hard, because when he breaks the pocket, that's when big plays open up. Stay in front of him.
Greasy throwing, and nobody there except Ravens, and it's intercepted. Corey Harris pulled it in, and that should lock it up for the Baltimore Ravens.
Definitely not on the same page. Brian Greasy expecting a receiver to break out. I think it was Rod Smith. And there's nobody there, and they were going to keep Brian Greasy in the pocket. That time, Tony Saragusa did not even move. Stood up and watch Brian Billick.
You know, we talked earlier about his approach, his whole approach to his team after the loss last week. And this is a pretty tough statement by the Baltimore Ravens to come into Denver and beat the Broncos.
You know what, too? And you see that reaction. You don't see reactions like that too often from head coaches, but I like it. You know, hey, it's a great thing to win games. And to beat Baltimore, to come in here to Denver in this situation and beat, without a doubt, one of the best teams in football, it's exhilarating. And I think, you know, Brian Billick knows, too, that this sets his team up at 2-1, going home. Look at their schedule. They got Tennessee at home. Then the following week, they go to Green Bay and play there. So
Baltimore will go to 2-1. Denver will fall to 2-1. And for Elvis Gerbach, a terrific comeback from a week ago in which he accounted for 3 of the 6 turnovers with interceptions.
The defense looked the same for the Baltimore Ravens, but I think a lot of the doubts were erased about the Baltimore Ravens offense. The scheme, the flow which they play with, the mixture of pass and run, it looked pretty good here today.
Remind you once again, 60 Minutes comes your way once we wind down next here on CBS, except on the West Coast. And that'll do it. The Baltimore Ravens bounce back from a loss at Cincinnati last week that surprised many around the NFL. Brian Billick and the Ravens come out on top. Mike Shanahan, Brian Greasy, and the Denver Broncos fall for the first time this season. Once again, our final score, Baltimore 20 and Denver 13, coming up next, except on the West Coast. Stay tuned for 60 Minutes. For Phil Simms and Armin Katayan, I'm Greg Gumbel. So long from Denver. Thanks for joining us, everyone. You've been watching the NFL on CBS.